I want to tell you a truth today, and truth, as you know, does not always arrive wearing soft clothes. Sometimes truth comes barefoot and dusty from a long road, and we must open the door anyway. Because truth that stays outside the house cannot warm the house. I have lived long enough to bury the ones I loved, and to be born again in my own skin more times than I can count. And in all that living I have learned this. There is no shame in needing. The shame, if there is any, belongs to a world that taught women to apologize for hunger. Hunger for touch, for partnership, for a hand to hold in the dark hallway of a hard year. I did not come here to tell you that a woman is a broken vessel waiting for a man to fill her. No, a woman is a whole and thundering thing, a cathedral built by her own hands, brick by brick, breath by breath. But even a cathedral has doors. Even a cathedral rings its bells to call somebody home. So let us speak plainly about 3 seasons in a woman's life when the need for a good man, steady, present, unafraid of her fire, grows loud enough that pretending otherwise becomes its own kind of lie. The first season comes in the tender years, when a girl is still deciding what kind of woman she will become. This is the age of becoming, when the self is still wet clay on the wheel, spinning, and every hand that touches it leaves a mark. I am not speaking only of romance here. I am speaking of witness. A young woman in this season needs someone who will look at her reaching, her stumbling, her wild and unfinished ambitions, and say without flinching, "I see you, and I am not leaving." This is the age when the world will hand a girl 100 small cruelties disguised as opinions about her body, her voice, her worth, her place. It is the age when she may hear that she is too much or not enough in the very same breath. And if there is a good man standing near in that season, a father perhaps. But I speak now of the man she may choose to walk beside her. His task is not to complete her. His task is to hold up a mirror steady enough that she can see her own reflection clearly, undistorted by the funhouse glass the world keeps handing her. I remember watching young women in my own time, girls who had every reason to believe the world had already decided who they would be before they ever opened their mouths to say otherwise. And I watched what happened when a decent man, a brother, a friend, a lover, simply believed them. Just believed them the way you believe the sunrise, without needing proof, without needing her to shrink first to fit his comfort. That belief becomes scaffolding. It does not build the house, but it holds the house up while she builds it herself. This is the first age, the age of becoming, when a woman needs not a savior, but a witness who refuses to look away. Do not mistake me. A woman can raise herself in this season alone. Many have. Many must, because the world does not always send a good man walking by at the hour we need him most. And a woman without one does not therefore become less. But I have sat with enough grandmothers on enough porches to know this truth in my bones. Those who had one steady hand beside them in their becoming years often speak of it the way you speak of shade on a burning day, not necessary for survival. But oh, how it eases the walking. The second season arrives later, in the building years, when a woman is no longer discovering who she is, but is instead constructing what her life will hold. This is the age of labor. The raising of children, perhaps, or the building of a home, a business, a name that will outlast her. This is when the body grows tired in ways the young woman never imagined, when the mind carries lists longer than the night is dark, when the heart must love fiercely, while the hands do back-breaking work. In this season, a woman does not need a man to save her from labor. She needs a man who will pick up a shovel and dig beside her without being asked twice. I have known women who built empires with their own 2 hands, while also raising children who would grow tall and unafraid. And I have watched what happens to a woman's spirit when she must do this entirely alone, with no partner beside her, no one to say, "Sit down, sister, let me carry this 1 mile while you catch your breath." It is not that she cannot do it. Women have carried the weight of nations on their backs since the first sunrise, and they will carry it still. But there is a particular exhaustion that comes from believing you must be endlessly, eternally, single-handedly strong, and there is a particular grace that comes when a good man says, "You do not have to prove your strength to me. I already know it. Now let me help you rest." This is the age when partnership stops being about romance and starts being about logistics of love. Who wakes at 3 in the morning when the baby cries? Who remembers to ask how her day truly was? Who notices when the light behind her eyes has grown dim and does something about it, besides simply commenting on it? A woman in her building years needs more than poetry, more than flowers. A partner who understands that love is a verb wearing work clothes. She needs someone who will not disappear when the season turns difficult, because building anything worthwhile, a marriage, a family, a legacy, requires two sets of hands willing to bleed a little for the same dream. And here again I tell you, a woman without such a partner in this season is not diminished. I have known mothers who built kingdoms out of nothing but their own will and love. No man beside them at all, and their children rose up and called them blessed. But I would be lying to you, and I did not come here to lie, if I did not say plainly that the load is lighter when it is shared. And a woman's laughter comes easier when she is not the only one standing guard through the night. The third season comes at the far end of the road, in what I call the age of remembering. This is old age, when the body that once ran and danced and labored begins to ask for gentleness. This is when a woman has already given so much of herself to children grown and gone, to careers completed, to battles fought and mostly won, and now she turns to look behind her at the long path she has walked. In this season, the need for a man, or truly for any steady, faithful companion, becomes less about romance and more about witness again, but a different kind of witness than in her youth. Now she needs someone who remembers her story alongside her, who can say, "I was there. I saw you when your hair was dark and your steps were quick, and I see you now, and you are still the same brave woman I have always known." Loneliness in old age is a particular kind of ache, my people, different from any other loneliness. It is not the ache of not yet being known. It is the ache of having been known deeply and now having no one left who remembers. A woman in her elder years who has a good man beside her, a husband of 50 years perhaps, or a companion found later in life, has someone to help carry her memories when her own mind grows tired. Someone who will hold her hand in the hospital room and say her name the way it was said when she was young and new to the world. This is not weakness. This is the deepest form of human tenderness, the kind that says, "I do not want to face the ending alone, and there is no dishonor in wanting company at the door. But hear me clearly, because I will not let this truth be twisted into something small. Even in this final season, a woman who walks alone can walk with dignity. I have known widows and women who never married, who built circles of friendship so strong, so faithful, that they lacked for nothing when the evening of their lives arrived. Sisterhood, chosen family, the love of children and grandchildren and friends who show up with soup and stories. These too are forms of the steady hand I have been describing. A man is not the only shape that love and support can take. But I would be dishonest with you if I pretended that a good man, faithfully present through all three of these seasons, the becoming, the building, and the remembering, is not a gift many women long for and many women deserve. So here is my harsh truth, if you insist on calling it harsh. Women do not need men to become whole. Women arrive already whole, already thundering, already cathedrals built from their own bricks. But wholeness does not mean solitude is required to prove it, and strength does not mean refusing help is noble. There are seasons in a woman's life, the becoming, the building, the remembering, when the presence of a good, steady, unafraid man makes the walking easier, the load lighter, the ending gentler. Needing this does not shrink a woman. It simply makes her human, and there is no shame, none at all, in being beautifully, thoroughly human. Go now and love bravely, in whatever season you find yourself. And if a good hand reaches for yours along the way, do not let old pride tell you that taking it makes you weak. Some of the strongest women I have ever known were strong enough to say, "Yes, I will let you carry this with me." That, my sisters, my brothers, is not surrender. That is wisdom wearing its finest clothes.